Despite the excellent results of the second chapter of Two Blue Vortices, it seemed unimportant to people, a little informative, and some consider it almost passing. This is a big mistake because it is in such chapters that the most powerful Easter eggs are usually hidden, as it was, for example, with the prosthesis of Kawaki and the binding chakra. Today we will try to find these Easterns, along with all the secrets of the 10-tailed ones, to understand the vision of the future Boruto, his mysterious new Rasengan, and much more. All this, of course, is simply guesswork with theories created for the sake of entertainment. If you like it, support similar content, like subscriptions and commentary. Enjoy watching. First, I would like to note an extremely important trend in the plot of Two Blue Vortices. A greater emphasis is placed on battles. Pifos pours from almost every page, and he also devotes a lot of time to secondary heroes. All of the above causes positive emotions, which was not in the first part. The same pathos was the main tool to provoke emotions in Shippuden. Half of the battles were held on it. The battles themselves now perform mainly an entertainment function, which indicates significant changes. In the first part, the battles were needed exclusively to promote the plot or the disclosure of the hero. The authors did not pay attention to the degree of satisfaction. They also belonged to the heroes of the second plan, which appeared once every couple of dozen chapters for a couple of phrases. Here they play some kind of role and will be able to deepen the narrative for the viewer, make him empathize with the heroes, and reveal the world around him. And how does all this end up? Positive emotions. Manga Boruto has finally reached the audience, which cannot help but rejoice. The Eye and Kawaki are pleasing, which from now on the path of the seventh sound like the whole Konoha is my family. He tries to save everyone from random people, and he treats Himawari the same way. From this, you can draw several conclusions at once. First, the main goal of Kawaki is not to kill Boruto. Do not exterminate all the Otsutsuki, not to kill or drive the code, but to protect everyone to a single resident of Konoha. At the same time, like the seventh, Kawaki does not put his other residents above himself, especially since he renounces with a direct text on behalf of Uzumaki when they ask him not to call him a brother. This, in combination with the protection of Konoha, shows the maximum clear motivation of Kawaki: love. He loves his house and his family, which every resident of the sheet includes, and will do everything for the protection of everyone. Second, Kawaki could, without delay, rush to the code and Boruto drive away or kill both, thereby quickly stopping the attack. This is an option for a short way of solving a problem that has its own price in the form of large human victims. However, Kawaki went a long way, implying the protection of people from enemies until they get to a safe place, and only then can you go to deal with enemies. Also, a long way gives us the answer to the question of why Kawaki changed his opinion on the murder of Boruto. If a 10-tower tower becomes too much of a threat to residents, then nothing will interfere with the conclusion of a truce with Boruto. Kawaki may come to the conclusion that it will be better to isolate his brother from society until there is a way to extract Momoshiki from him. However, so far Boruto is free and quite successfully protects Konoha from the Koda attack while talking with him about the old days. Surprisingly, only a few phrases of dialogue allow us to understand whether Sasuke is alive and what happened to Boruto. What do we know? 2 years ago, the battle between Boruto and passed. One participant says that he was defeated because his opponent cowardly escaped, and the other puts himself as a winner as he was able to leave the scar. Who is right and who is lying? We recall the character of the code and its amazing features to find good even in the worst. Therefore, he took Boruto's escape as a sign of his victory. But in reality, there is no winner. The draw leads us to another piece of information. Even in the first chapter, Kodo said that Boruto had been looking for 2 years, and now he was surprised by the possession of a sword, and does not know about the new Rasengan Boruto, taking him as an ordinary one. Thus he proves that he did not meet with Boruto over the past 2 years. That is, Sasuke could potentially die only 2 years ago and no later. At the same time, Boruto behaves just like, dresses as well as him, and even invents technology in the same way. Boruto shows unprecedented growth over these 2 years, left supposedly without a teacher. In total, the listed facts prove that Sasuke is alive and healthy. This is confirmed by the excessively strong accent of manga itself, in spite of its absence. But this is a screen. The distraction of attention creates additional intrigue. And one more important issue related to Boruto and code. How does Boruto know so much about the 10-tailed? Did he really learn about the travel trip and return to the Shinobi War and see something there? No, do not believe in this nonsense. The only unmistakable source of information about everything thing related to Otsutsuki is Momoshiki. Back in chapter 75, their thoughts with Boruto intersected, from which Boruto was able to see a small future. There were no prerequisites for the cessation of this phenomenon, so it is obvious that Uzumaki once again saw the future in Momoshiki's thoughts, in which the Ten Tails seemed to both of them a terrible danger. The Jubi scared Otsutsuki so much that it prompted the alien to cooperate. What are the Ten Tails hiding? You will find out after you like and subscribe to the channel and wait a little longer. You all remember how chapter 83 ended. Boruto shows some new technique. Strange air currents appear around him. Uzu means whirlwind, and Hiko means young, or the nominal suffix prince, similar to San or Sama. In general, this is all we know. What can be understood from this information, you ask? If you know where to look, there is a lot I will answer. We were given a huge hint about the secret of the technique back in July, when the manga Pominato was released. There, the future fourth randomly came up with Newton's third law. For every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, it was necessary to create two vortices, spin them in different directions, and only in this way would they be balanced. The reference to the subtitle of the Boruto manga is there for a reason, because this was an explanation of the principle of the Prince of Whirlwinds, except for one small detail. Chakra vortices swirl not outside, but inside Boruto's body. Thus, the young genius gave the Rasengan the shape of his body instead of the usual ball. What does this technique provide? For the answer, we turn to the meaning of the word whirlwind. Gusty circular currents of wind. The effect is obvious. Boruto begins to move incredibly quickly, albeit in jerks. Here another Newton's second law comes into play, which speaks of the dependence of force on speed. The air is harmless until it's dispersed, and the nature of the Rasengan will allow you to do the same with the chakra inside Boruto. Disperse it. As a result, we get perhaps one of the strongest techniques created by an ordinary shinobi without any improvements in the form of karma or technology. She will perhaps take Boruto to a whole new level of power, since the more chakra you spin within yourself, the faster and stronger you will become. Considering the colossal reserves of chakra of the Otsutsuki, which Boruto is 100%, one can only fantasize about the limits of the potential of this technique. The repeatedly mentioned Ten Tails, which became the focus of the chapter, have no less potential. The one who awakened the Rinnegan was especially distinguished. At this moment, everyone was indignant. Why is this great Dojutsu awakening some kind of dirt? Firstly, this is not dirt at all, but the most natural Ten Tails. Bug called him dirt out of ignorance, and Aida and all of Konoha repeated him. Ten Tail. This is the most logical candidate for awakening the Rinnegan. It is enough to remember how special eyes were awakened in the past. Sasuke received it thanks to Hagoromo's chakra. He, in turn, inherited chakra from Kaguya, and Madara was able to recreate the chakra artificially. What do they have in common? Kaguya's chakra, which wielded the Rinne Sharingan. This means that the ordinary Rinnegan is its derivative. This is due to our Ten Tails, because Kaguya herself, like any other Otsutsuki, received a third eye when she ate a chakra fruit grown on the divine tree, also known as the Ten Tails. This seems clear. Now another question is, what kind of trees are these that Jubi turns into? What are they capable of, and what will happen to the victims next? The topic is extremely interesting because trees are miniature versions of the divine trees. Therefore, miniatures should be able to do the same thing as the original. For example, absorb chakra and produce fruit. But there is no clear answer here. On the one hand, Amato also said that all this requires a living Otsutsuki as fertilizer, which means that without it, the situation from the end of Shippuden could repeat itself. But without bait, chakra was not sucked from the planet. There's another side of the coin. To understand which, you need to understand the reason for mandatory fertilization. In simple words, Jubi is a vacuum cleaner. It just sucks chakra. To run, it needs chakra and brains, like a vacuum cleaner of electricity and program chips. These functions are likely performed by the victim. Conclusion. Reprogrammed by the Jubi code, it can take over the functions of the brain, the signs of which it is already showing, and he doesn't need extra chakra at all. Sucking out chakra from the entire planet is a labor-intensive task, but sucking out a person is an easy task. What we have is enough. Therefore, the lucky shinobi will lose chakra. But what will happen to them next? Only a terrifying, mysterious future, and simple observations will help you figure it out. A huge army of primitive creatures guided by instincts, wanting to bite everyone, after which the victim turns into something. The analogy with the zombie apocalypse is obvious and really sheds light on a lot. Usually, when zombies bite people, they turn them into their own kind. With Yubi, this is entirely possible due to code manipulation. He turned, metaphorically speaking, a giant barrel of chakra into small glasses. the number of which depends on the size of the barrel. If the barrel becomes 1 glass larger, then the number of 10 tails will increase accordingly. Soon we can see how the tree turns back into 2 pieces of dirt. They will eat another person, making 4, then 16, and so on until the end of humanity. Koto's belts will help them move quickly, but one problem remains. They are weak. We recall Ishiki's words that the Tefuri, that is potentially our dirt, sucks out not only chakra, but also genetic information. This means that, again, in theory, Jubi can absorb the chakra of, for example, one of the Nara clan and learns to control the shadow thanks to its developing intelligence. And this is a relatively harmless example. Now, imagine an army of teleporting monsters with renegades and techniques from the entire Shinobi world. I suggest you post in the comments which existing techniques will make the Jubi army the most deadly. That's all for today. Like it if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel, and bye everyone!